Good evening, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to Thursday night, a special edition of our Bible class. I know it's been a while since we've gathered together on our Thursdays, but tonight I wanted to hop on and do something a little special for us. So, this is the first thing I need you to do. I need you to go on ahead and hit that share button. Send the link to somebody to tell them to come on and join us tonight for this Thursday night experience. We're not going to be on here long, but I guarantee you it's going to be strong because we're sharing some good information on this evening. I want you to hit that share button, the like button. If you have not subscribed to the New Psalmist YouTube channel, subscribe today and make sure that you're a part of what's going on whenever we go live. For you to watch it live, watch the replay, share it with somebody. We want you to be a part of our New Psalmist YouTube community. But we're just glad to have you on tonight. If you haven't done so already, put something in the chat to let somebody else know that you're glad to see them tonight. Tag somebody's name, send them a virtual wave, a high five, a virtual hug, whatever it is, to let them know that you're glad to be sharing tonight. Because tonight, we're in this space together, in separate houses, homes, in front of our screens, but we're here together. We are connecting together in this space. And so make sure you greet each other even as you're coming in and sharing tonight. Getting ready to share a word of prayer. I'm going to share a couple of things with you, and then we'll let you know why we're gathering this evening. But let's go to God in prayer. Our Father and our God, first and foremost, we are grateful and thankful for who you are. We are grateful and thankful for how you continue to move in our lives. And we are grateful for these spaces and opportunities that you give us to come together, to grow together, and to experience you. So God, I simply pray tonight that your voice be heard, that you give insight, revelation, that you provide something to us to help us grow and become better. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen. Again, glad to have you tonight. Make sure you invite somebody and stay engaged. I want to share with you a couple of things that are coming up at the church and then let you know what we're going to be talking about tonight. First of all, I want to thank every single one of you who have been a part thus far of our anniversary activities, from Anniversary Sunday to Cooking with the Thomases. And this Friday, we're closing things out tomorrow. We're closing things out with Friday Night Live. We're going to be at the church from 6 to 9 outside. Good music, good fun, good food. You can bring your chairs with you. You can bring some food with you. But if not, there'll be food trucks there on site for you to be able to purchase meals. We're going to have a good time. My family and I love to have fun. And we love to have a good time with our church family as well. And so tomorrow night, 6 to 9, come on out, join us on site. If you have any questions about anything, call the church, send the email to Amen. But we want you to come on out. We've asked folks to register on Church Center just to give us a count of those who are there. But even if you have not registered, you can still come on out and join us. There'll be special areas for our children and youth. They'll have things going on. It's going to be a great time to fellowship together, a great time to enjoy the fact that God has given us this church family to be able to share, grow, and love on each other together. So hope to see you tomorrow night. I'm telling y'all, it's going to be fun, fun, fun. We're going to have a good time. Sunday morning, 9 o'clock, of course, you know, we'll be in worship, praising God. The month of June, we've got something going on just about every Sunday. We've got our baptism the first week, Children and Youth Sunday the second week, Father's Day and Men's Day the third week, and the fourth Sunday is our church anniversary. So stay connected. Go to Church Center or newpsalmist.org and click Church Center. Stay connected to what we have going on. But tonight, as we're closing out this Mental Health Awareness Month, throughout the month, I've been preaching from the sermon series Shock Therapy. And we've been talking somewhat about mental health, even in the midst of those messages. On Mother's Day, First Lady Jarrett talked about the importance and the necessity of rest and taking care of yourself. Self-care is so vital and so important. But tonight, I wanted to call you on to share something that one of our members actually compiled and put together. Sister Daniela Bird, she is the head, the leader, the founder, and the director of Restoring Hope Wellness. She's also one of our connection group facilitators for our next generation. And she has put together a presentation that talks about trauma in Black communities. Our community is a unique one. We have a lot of factors and variables that deal with how it is we encounter and respond to things in life. And Sister Bird has put together this presentation to help dig into what it is about our community that causes the uniqueness of trauma that we experience, and how are some of the things we can face, confront, and deal with them, some best practices as well, and some great insight and knowledge into dealing with trauma. Whether you realize it or not, there are things that impact us sometimes daily that are traumatic to us. It's not just the big events, but there are different traumatic events that transpire. And so we want to spend some time together talking about trauma in Black community. And so Sister Bird is going to share this presentation, and I was so impressed by what she put together that I told Sister Angela Smith, who heads up our pastoral care division at the church, and she was telling me what Sister Bird did. I said, we have to share this with our New Psalmist family. And so tonight, I want to share with you this presentation from Sister Daniela Bird. Again, she is the head of Restoring Hope Wellness, one of our members, Connection Group leader as well. And tonight, she's going to be sharing with us about trauma in Black communities. Do me a favor, hit that share button, send the text message, tell somebody to hop on now to join with you in this. Matter of fact, even if you can't get them in this moment, send them the link later to come back, watch the replay, so that they can experience this message, they can hear what is shared, and they can become strengthened and better in dealing with their mental health and helping others as well. All right, y'all, get ready. Get pen and paper if you need it. But let's share together about this presentation, Trauma in Black Communities.
Hello, my name is Daniela Bird, and I am the owner of and therapist at Restoring Hope Wellness and a member of New Psalmist Baptist Church located in Baltimore, Maryland. Thank you for taking time to watch this video and for holding space for a topic that is so deeply important and personal for many in the Black community, trauma. Today, I want to talk to you about trauma in the Black community, what it is, where it comes from, how it impacts our daily lives, and how we can move towards a path of healing. First, let's start by defining trauma. Trauma is a deeply distressing experience that overwhelms our ability to cope or deal with it, causing lasting negative effects on our mental, emotional, and physical health. It can lead to symptoms that are disruptive to our daily lives. When left untreated, trauma can develop into conditions like post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, depression, anxiety, and other mental health conditions. When many of us hear the word trauma, we think about what we call big T events. Those are major life-threatening events like being in a hurricane or being assaulted and fearing for your life, or a soldier experiencing war. And yes, these experiences can be very traumatic, but we often don't recognize what we call little T events. And these are traumas that happen on a smaller scale that are personal and highly distressing, but may be repeated or chronic, such as being under financial stress or having insecurities about where you live or how you're going to provide for yourself or your family. And these little T events, they are just as damaging as one big T event. And then there are those secondary traumas that may not be happening to us personally, but perhaps it's something we've read about or we've seen on social media or the news that causes us just as much distress as if it was happening to us personally. So when we think about trauma, I want us to think about the impact that the event has on a person that's experiencing it more than we think about the event itself. So what does a traumatized person look like? They look just like me and you, except they may be experiencing symptoms that include reliving the event or the experience over and over again as if it's happening right now when it could have happened 5 or 10 years ago, maybe when they were a child. They can experience all types of sleep disturbances or always feeling on the edge or having trouble concentrating, just to name a few. And then there are those physical symptoms that could include irregular heartbeats, unexplained aches and pains, or constant fatigue. And these symptoms, they may come on at once right after the event or the experience, or they may develop over a period of time. But either way, These symptoms can be debilitating to a person's life and interfere with their daily function. And when left untreated, as I mentioned in the earlier slide, it can lead to mental health conditions like PTSD or depression and other mental health conditions. So now that we've talked about trauma, what it is, how it can impact our daily lives, and what some of the symptoms are for trauma, I want to talk more specifically about trauma in the Black community. And we can't talk about trauma in the Black community without first talking about the historical impact of racial and generational trauma within the Black community. Because trauma in the Black community is deeply rooted in both historical injustices and present-day systemic inequities. The Black community has endured slavery, segregation, and structural racism, and we still see the effects of it today with the prevalence of adverse childhood conditions, racial and community violence, all compounded by ongoing health and social economic disparities. These experiences that seem so far away, they did more than just shape our memory. They transmitted both biological and psychological effects that increased the Black community's vulnerability to mental health conditions like PTSD and depression. The historical impact of slavery and segregation, it lives in our families, our communities, and we know through epigenetics, it lives in our bodies and shapes our stress responses, impacts our health outcomes, and shapes our emotional patterns across generations. Studies show that most Black adults report stress from daily discrimination. So you see, the past becomes the present in so many domains in our lives. It's essential for us to understand the weight and the impact of these experiences, not only for honoring the strength and resilience that have carried so many through adversity, but it's important to understand the physiological and psychological impacts so we can move towards a path of true healing. And when you look at the history of trauma in the Black community, it's no wonder the prevalence of PTSD is disproportionately higher than any other group. But trauma doesn't just begin in adulthood. It often happens early in life. With increased vulnerability to trauma and PTSD through intergenerational trauma combined with adverse childhood experiences, Black children and teens are being disproportionately burdened by trauma. Just to give you a little bit of background on adverse childhood experiences, also ACEs, these are potentially traumatic events that occur before the age of 18 that include things like abuse, neglect, household dysfunction, poverty, community violence. Studies show most Black children have experienced at least one ACE, and almost half have experienced at least 4 ACEs. Studies also show Black high school students are more likely than their peers to attempt suicide, although they completed less. And it may surprise you to know that during the COVID-19 pandemic, the ratio of Black youth dying by gun violence increased from 2-to-1 to 3-to-1 when compared to white youth. You see, these adverse childhood experiences, they leave marks that last a lifetime. They create toxic stress that traumatizes a child and can harm their developing brains. It impacts their immune system and their long-term physical and mental health. The statistics are even more disproportionate when we look at Black women in trauma. Black women are disproportionately burdened by trauma. 1 in 8 Black women experience PTSD in their lifetime. And when you consider the rates of intimate partner violence, pregnancy and childbirth complications and death, and even more recently, in 2025, between February and July, Black women in America lost 319,000 jobs. It's no wonder. Black women often experience PTSD conditions that are chronic, severe, and untreated. And then there's this superwoman schema, the idea that Black women have embraced, and it's been promoted by American culture and the Black community. And it is the ideal of resilience and caretaking that helps Black women endure adversity. That's true. But it also contributes to elevated stress and trauma and health risks. This superwoman complex, it puts overwhelming pressure on Black women to be superhuman. And they often feel they have to handle difficulties alone and without support while they're suppressing emotions and maintaining this facade of strength. And this often results in burnout, poor mental health, and a reluctance to seek help. Now, I know I threw out a lot of numbers, but these are more than just statistics. These are lived experiences. And on the other side of those numbers are some that are equally important, and that's the treatment gaps. The Black community often experiences trauma and silence. The rates of treatment are just as disproportionate as how we experience trauma. 21 to 37% of Black adults with any mental illness receive treatment versus 52% of white adults. The same is with Black youth. And there's a lot of reasons for that. There are barriers to treatment. There's the stigma of seeking mental health help, the lack of trust in the providers and the system that has oppressed us throughout our history. There's not enough providers that look like us. And then there's a lack of access to health care. The National Institute of Health did a study that showed during the COVID-19 pandemic, Black adults sought mental health care in emergency twice as much as the general population. It was because they didn't have any access to preventive care or to a provider. Despite all the disparities and barriers to care, the Black community still has incredible resilience, but even resilience deserves rest. For generations, the Black community has been rooted in spirituality, faith, ancestral wisdom, and in the belief that we are held by someone greater than ourselves. Through prayer, song, ritual, storytelling, and community, we have found refuge and restoration. And our spirituality has helped us make meaning out of pain and transform our suffering into survival. Even when systems failed us, God did not. But resilience doesn't mean the absence of pain. It means the presence of connection. It means leaning on God and community and on one another. But resilience should never require silence. Strength should never require suffering alone. There is a path toward healing through family, church, community, and professional support. The pursuit of true healing allows us to honor our faith and seek support through professional resources as needed. It allows us to rest and receive care without guilt and shame and without the pressure to be superhuman. Healing is one of God's promises to his people. And if you recognize any of these symptoms in yourself, I encourage you to reach out to your church, your doctor, or a trusted mental health professional and begin seeking steps towards healing. God invites us to bring our burdens to him. We don't have to carry them alone. He is close to the brokenhearted, and he saved those who are crushed in spirit. And if you recognize any of these symptoms in someone else, be the hands and feet of Jesus Christ and walk alongside them with compassion. Pray with them and help them connect to the care that they need. Seeking professional help is not a lack of faith. It is often one of the ways that God restores us. And on this slide, there's a list of resources where you can seek help. Thank you again for watching this video.